Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Capital City News. I'm your host, Stephanie Sewer.
And I'm your host, Yusuf Mong. On this episode, we're talking firefighter challenges, we're talking Arbor Day, we're talking changes to Real ID. Reporting to you not live from the easiest place to travel internationally without a passport, it's the International Peace Gardens. Spring in Salt Lake City means a couple things. Allergy season, which is the worst, and Arbor Day celebrations, which are much more exciting. So many of you came out here to Jordan Park to plant over 100 new trees in over 27 varieties.
The trees that are being planted here today are part of a legacy that are going to last for generations in the city. As long as I've known Mayor Mendenhall, it's been a goal of hers to see lots of tree planting, to see our canopy grow in the city. And I'm happy I can report to this group that in the last 5 years, with the planting of more than 10,000 trees in our city over that time period, we're rising up and meeting that challenge, and that is not going to stop. We're going to continue to do it with a lot of help from volunteers like yourself. So, absolutely.
Oh, I think that was a travel bug. Up next, we're talking changes to ID requirements that may affect you on your next trip to the airport.
So what is expected to change on May 7th, 2025 when Real ID enforcements and requirements go into effect? Well, for any traveler 18 years or older, especially Utah residents and who want to use their driver's license or state-issued identification cards, at the TSA TDC identification process, you will need to show a Real ID compliant credential. In Utah, the credential features a gold star, which is in the right-hand corner of the driver's license or identification cards. The Utah Department of Public Safety estimates those numbers to be above 95% for Utahns, so we are very well prepared for Real ID enforcement here in the state of Utah. I want to stress that TSA accepts multiple forms of identification beyond state-issued driver's license. This includes a U.S. passport or passport card, active duty military credentials, also referred to as CAC cards. We also accept credentials issued to military dependents. DHS trusted travel credentials such as Global Entry or Sentry cards, a lawful permanent resident card or border crossing cards. Foreign government issued passports are accepted, Veterans Health Identification cards or VA cards, and there are several other types of identification that we do accept. You can find these on our website at tsa.gov. They will give you the full list there.
It's not every day that the weather's this great, so on episode 3 of Get Your Kit Together, we're talking clothing and making sure that you have the right clothing for any scenario.
Going to try it for the Olympics.
Yep. Well, I've been in the Olympics
I don't
before.
think it's probably not true.
I probably haven't.
Yeah.
All right, team. Emergency clothing is critical, right? You want to be prepared, but you also want to be stylish.
Bob, it's about survival, not style.
Casey, in a survival situation, do you want to be stylish or prepared? I'm a firefighter. I get it. When an emergency hits, the outfit matters. But when you look better, you survive better, right?
Yeah, nothing says I'm ready for a flood like wearing the latest fashion trends.
Bob, we need real survival gear. Think warmth, durability, easy to pack, not fashion week.
Hey, fashion is survival too.
You need layers: thermal, moisture wicking, antimicrobial, compact gear.
Look, Bob's great, but sometimes I think he's one earthquake away from wearing a cape.
Bob's jackets are cool and all, but layers save lives. No one wants to freeze to death because they skipped a sweater.
Speaking of layers, check out my summer survival kit. It's light, breathable, and perfect for lounging. You never know when you're going to need to run, but I'm prepared. I've got summer and winter kits because I'm thorough.
Right, because the first thing I want to do in a snowstorm is put on cargo shorts.
Scott, it's not just cargo shorts, it's freedom.
We're gonna need more than freedom to survive a blizzard. Okay, in a snowstorm, you do need protection from all of the elements, not shorts with excess pockets, even though they are incredibly functional.
Exactly. Something like this. Light, warm, and you can layer it with your turnout gear. Perfect for any weather.
Bob, it's like you're wearing a sleeping bag. How is that going to help us in an emergency?
Okay, this is what we need. Layers. Insulated, warm, and breathable. Bob's puffer, that's cute. I've got the real stuff. Wool, fleece, silk. You can't just puff your way through a snowstorm.
Speaking of layers, don't forget your footwear. These boots will carry through floods, fire, mud, snow, whatever.
Yeah, that's great and all, but what we really need to be focusing on are gloves. Waterproof, built-in whistles. Never know when you're gonna be needing a signal.
I'm telling you, when the apocalypse hits, I'll be the best dressed one in the group. You'll thank me later.
We'll survive, Bob, but maybe with fewer layers.
And don't forget one of these. It's reflective, warm, and keeps you visible.
So are we supposed to wrap ourselves up like a burrito and hope for the best?
It's a lifesaver, actually. We should have one in every kit.
Nothing says I'm prepared for an emergency than being wrapped up like a baked potato.
Up next, we had the chance to watch our Salt Lake City firefighters go through the Firefighter Challenge, which ESPN has dubbed the toughest 2 minutes in sports. Somebody help me down.
Kevin Boyle and Martha Ellis in that group. Getting ready up for it. Previous race, this is the first time.
Do you know what's rad? Taking your dog to the dog park. You know what's not rad? Not cleaning up after them. So be a responsible pet owner and scoop the poop.
The following program is a PSA for the dangers of not picking up your dog's doo-doo. Brought to you by SLC TV. I don't need to pick that up.
Are you not picking up your dog's nuggets? Not picking up your dog's poop is disgraceful. And not to mention, illegal. Not picking up your dog's big fat loaves has multiple consequences, such as bacteria and parasites, water pollution, stepping in caca, big fine penalties, and disappointing your peers. At the end of the day, it's simple. It's your duty to pick up their duty.
And now it's time for our History Minute, where we look at the origin of Earth Day in Salt Lake City, which goes all the way back to 1970.
In the 1960s, as folks began to realize that problems with the environment, pollution of air, land, and water were actually made by humans by and large, an effort was made to start an Earth Day celebration. The first Earth Day celebrated in Utah and Salt Lake City was in 1970. School kids from across the state, from kindergarten to college, participated in protests, cleanup efforts, film screenings and discussions, and pulled together to shine a light on the problems of the environment that human society had caused. Students pled with folks to leave their cars home for the day to help with air pollution, and at the University of Utah, celebrations of Earth Day went long into the night, culminating in an Earth Day dance at midnight. Not everyone was so keen on the common sense protests and learning activities happening across the state and in Salt Lake City. One prominent business leader, J.P. O'Keefe, the general manager of Kennecott Mining, decried the entire thing as a communist plot to weaken America. He reminded everyone that April 22nd, the day Earth Day was celebrated, was the birthday of Vladimir Lenin, and that this education about pollution was really about controlling legislation that would affect their business. Today, Earth Day is celebrated in Salt Lake City still, but the attitudes of some politicians and business leaders across the country bear a striking resemblance to those of J.P. O'Keefe.
Well, that's it for another episode of Capital City News. Remember, this is your best way to stay informed and engaged with Salt Lake City government. You can do that by following us on social media at SLCGov, tuning into Channel 17, or subscribing to us on YouTube.
Reporting in from the International Peace Gardens. We'll see you next time.